Are you inventing things to do in order to avoid what is most important? What is most essential is oftentimes what requires more energy from your mind, and it also is what you will have most resistance to doing. Procrastination is nothing but resistance to the unknown, to the unfamiliar, to that which you haven't done before. Your subconscious wants you to save energy. Your subconscious wants you to stay within familiar realms and keep on doing what you've always done. So what it will end up doing is that it will come up with all sorts of things, trivial things, that doesn't necessarily matter in the long term or in the scope of what actually matters. It will come up with all sorts of things for you to do instead of doing what is most important, what it is that is of most value, what it is that actually will move the needle in your life and business. This is actually something that can turn into you adopting busyness. So when you stay busy, you keep on doing a lot of things, which will give you some dopamine hits, right? Because you do something at least. So instead of delaying gratification and maintaining your focus and energy towards what it is that will move the needle in the long haul and that would actually matter to create a life and business for yourself that is built upon your values, instead of doing that, you keep on doing the things that are not necessarily that important. You keep on inventing things. But is it you? Or is it your limbic system? Is it the amygdala? Is it the mind that is below your level of consciousness? That's right. It is your subconscious mind that's doing this. You can begin observing it. You can begin, actually seeing this pattern in your life. And when you do, you connect your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, and you're able to observe what's actually going on here. But to be able to actually begin prioritizing what it is that is of most importance to you, what is most essential, it's so crucial to be able to actually work with your subconscious and rewire it for what it is that you would like to do, what it is that you would like to prioritize. We can actually do this by taking your consciousness into a state of alpha and theta brainwave state, where then we can begin giving your mind suggestions that makes your subconscious mind more compelled and wanting to show up for those things that you deep down know matters the most. And we can literally also rewire your subconscious and sow seeds into there to create more resistance to do the things that are just distractions. So this is what I support you with. This is exactly what I work with my clients on, who have perfectionistic tendencies or procrastination, or basically just stay busy doing the things that, can move the needle a little bit, but not as much as what is most essential, what is most important. Let me give you an example of how this actually works, just to bring it down, make it real simple for you. So think of a young boy that has this crush and he wants to go and ask this crush out. But of course, what is it that he ends up doing instead? He convinces himself that he has to join the soccer team and get really good at that. He has to join the gym and look really good. He also buys himself a car and keeps on polishing it. He makes sure that he hangs out with this group of people that seems popular. And all of this he's doing subconsciously in order for him to attract the girl to him, right? So he's convinced himself that if he does X, Y, and Z, then he will convince this girl that he's worthy of being seen, heard, and understood, of actually dating her. When in fact, what is it that would be the easiest thing to do? It would be to just go straight up to the girl and tell her what he's feeling and thinking, and also just asking her out on a date. How few people is it that actually is doing that? This is not just a pattern of young boys. This is a pattern that most people have because we have this limbic system within us our whole lives. And so instead of doing what is, actually going to move the needle in the long haul, and that is actually also the easiest, often comes in disguise. It looks like it's really, really, really hard, when in fact, it just takes a little bit of courage for you to do it. And when you do it, then you've done it. In this case, if the little young boy would just go up and ask, what would happen? Well, he would get an answer. He would get some feedback. That is actually the shift that needs to happen for you to begin blooming beyond perfectionism, perceiving feedback as valuable, not as failure. Because when you begin to see it as feedback, you can begin also choosing to be courageous, to take courageous risks, to put yourself out there, to ask for what it is that you see yourself as worthy of having in your life, of creating in your life. Oftentimes you won't necessarily see yourself as worthy already. You will begin seeing yourself as worthy of it when you're actually doing it, when you're actually asking for it. Instead of waiting for it, just ask for it. And this is also happening, let's say, in business. So you might actually then invent all of these different things that you think that you need to do, or that at least gives you a little bit of a confidence boost. What would that look like? It would look like you thinking that you need to have the website all polished. You need to have business cards. You need to have your logo and all sorts of things. You need to have everything so shiny and perfect before you actually do what is most essential, which is to begin working with someone and helping someone get from A to B with your product, your service, whatever it is that you're offering. That takes courage. It takes courage to actually ask for it, to go out there and actually show up. So instead of inventing things to do, how about just asking? How about embracing courage and having bravery and showing up? What really would be most beneficial, is that you choose to do what it is that you have most resistance towards. But you can obviously consciously kind of force yourself to do this. But what I find so much more easy and effortless is to work with your subconscious mind through using certain language when you're speaking with it, through knowing how your mind works with mental images and words, and being able to begin observing the mind chatter. So what you want to do is you want to get in touch with your inner procrastinator, so to speak, which is just this voice that will keep on coming up with all sorts of things that you will do, invent things that it wants you to do in order to avoid what is most essential. So when you sit and you're going to dedicate your focus towards something, you might have this inner procrastinator kind of come to you and say, you need to go get a haircut, or you need to look this in this way. And you need to maybe water the plants, or you know what I mean? So it keeps on coming with these different suggestions, which are words or images in your mind. So you might have a visual image, right, of a plant pop up in your mind, or you might have a word saying water the plants, or you might have a vision of yourself sitting, getting a haircut, and you might have a vision of yourself eating chocolate, or you might have a vision of yourself going and getting yourself a cup of tea, or doing something different, or maybe even clean, or something like that. That is your inner procrastinator speaking through images and words. And someone who blooms beyond perfectionism and blooms beyond procrastination, it's not that you don't have procrastinator thoughts anymore, because you do. It's human. It's a human condition, because the brain wants to save energy, and it does this through inventing things to do that is irrelevant of what it is that is actually most important. So you will keep on having the thoughts. It's just that someone who blooms beyond perfectionism and blooms beyond this procrastination and this tendency to invent things to do, you're able to observe it, and you're able to not feed it and act upon it. And you also have rewired your subconscious to begin seeing the value and the pleasure in choosing what is most important, choosing to dedicate your focus and energy to what is most essential. And so you do. So blooming people, those who have bloomed beyond perfectionism and bloomed beyond procrastination, they are not these perfect human beings who are not ever having procrastinating thoughts cross their mind. It's not about that. It's about being able to bloom beyond those thoughts and view them, and still having a sense of disconnection from them, if that makes sense. You're able to have a gap between the thoughts where you're able to observe, kind of as a third person in a way. And this is exactly what I support you with in the Bloom Beyond Tribe, in the Bloom Beyond Perfectionism Program, and Bloom Beyond Mastermind. You can go to bloombeyond.com/apply to join a free monthly cohort. And then you will be able to obviously address this for yourself. If you keep on inventing things to do, which is just irrelevant to the whole picture. So remember, stay bright, brave, and balanced, and keep observing, keep creating this gap so that you're able to choose what is most essential, what is most important, over the trivial and over inventing things. And this is what I would love to support you with too, because your life gets so much more vibrant when you're able to actually understand what this is all about. It's about awareness, and awareness is power when you are to bloom beyond perfectionism and procrastination. Stay bright, stay brave, and stay balanced.